Alright fellas, now George Kambosos just made his return against Richardson Hitchins to try and shock the world and steal Hitchins' IBF super lightweight title. This fight on paper looked like it was going to be one-way traffic. Yet because of the good promotion from the both of them, Kambosos once again drew back the eyes of the boxing world. And there seemed to be a pretty genuine rivalry here. For Hitchins, it was the first time he had a real stage to perform on, and for Kambosos, he had one last chance left for glory. So we need to break down what just happened as well as, well, what's next for the both of them. But just quickly, my name is Cloyce and I make boxing videos to help you stay informed, so make sure to subscribe and I'll always keep you in the loop. Now, this fight between Hitchins and Kambosos is one which has been heating up for really quite a while now. If you follow either on Twitter, you would have seen them go back and forth really countless times. But really, the only reason they were beefing and the only reason this fight even happened was that Kambosos was trying to chase down a fight with Paro. Paro held the IBF belt at 140 at the time, and Kambosos saw it as an opportunity to make a true mega fight down under. But then Paro lost, and Kambosos, well, he was already signed to Matchroom awaiting that fight. So the thing which made the most sense at the time was, of course, to go for the winner in Hitchins. I kinda wished he stayed down at lightweight. Kambosos is not a big fella, and a move up to 140 just didn't make sense to me. Especially when the hardest fighters at 135 seemed to be on the verge of moving up. Yep, Kambosos, he did move up, and he took a stay busy fight which he looked incredibly average in, and then we find ourselves where we are today. And Kambosos, he was a heavy underdog for a reason. He was older, smaller, but the one thing with Kambosos is you can never truly write him off. In the fight today, he came out the gates looking pretty aggressive. He didn't want to stay on the outside and he was looking for a way in. But Hitchins, he got on his jab, as expected, and effectively used his 6-inch reach advantage. He controlled the range with a sharp jab and followed it up with solid right hands. Early on, it looked hopeful that Kambosos would stand a chance, but by the end of the second round, Kambosos was already showing signs of damage. He sported a mouse under his right eye from Hitchins' precise jab, yet still, he kept pressing, though his aggression really did leave massive openings. Hitchins capitalized on that, catching him on the way in with crisp combinations. Hitchins, well, he obviously did his homework. He knew Haney couldn't drop Kambosos because he didn't really work to the body at all. And that's exactly what worked for Loma. That's how Loma got him down. So Hitchins was really starting to work the body, and by the 5th round he landed a punishing body shot that visibly hurt him. It was kind of amazing that Kambosos made it past the 5th round. The fella truly has heart, you can't take that away from him. He pushed through, but his speed of movement was almost gone by this point. Then finally, after a few rounds, the breakthrough came in the 8th for Hitchins when he once again seized the moment and made it count. Kambosos went down with another body shot and the fight was over. Now really, it went just about how everyone expected. As an Aussie, of course I hoped Kambosos would win, but it was clear Hitchins was just a step above this time out. Where the pair go now is probably the more fascinating part. For Hitchins, sky's the limit. This fight will catapult him onto a mega stage. There's just so many stars around the 140, 147 pound divisions, and there's a ton of problems that Hitchins could capitalize on. In this division, either the biggest fighters are going on breaks, or they don't actually want to fight each other. This puts Hitchins in a great spot negotiations wise to get the biggest fights. And on top of that, he's now a promotional free agent. Although he has a great relationship with Eddie Hearn, if someone comes along with a bigger bag and a bigger opportunity, he's now in a position where he can take it. It's almost perfect timing. We saw Hitchins post-fight mainly call out Devin Haney, whilst also Teo came to the ring saying, well, he wanted the bout. But with the two, it's obvious that Haney is the fight Hitchins truly wants next. But the main problem he's going to face when trying to make these big fights happen is, well, what weight is he going to fight at? Now Hitchins, he looked pretty drained at the weigh-ins, like really drained, and it's clear his days at 140 are probably numbered. Yet is he in a spot where he wants to rush and move up to 147 straight away? Probably not. Although to chase those bigger fights he wants, he might have to move up to 147. Of course, Hitchins from this point could stay at 140, he could grip his belt tight and fight, well, whatever challenger comes along. Teo, he technically holds that 140 belt still, but it seems like from all angles that he's gonna probably move up to try chase some of the bigger names at 47. Although this fight could drag him back down. But the problem with the Teofimo fight is Hitchins didn't seem to really want to call him out. And that's because Teo apparently has other deals going on. And some of the other champs, like Gary Russell, I don't see Hitchins want to fight him. That bloke is a true boogeyman at 140. No one wants that fight. He's ultra skilled, a brilliant boxer, yet because of his low profile and him being over at PBC, that little payday wouldn't get any of the names interested and it wouldn't be worth the risk for any of them. Most likely for Hitchins, I see him staying on the sidelines for quite a while until a mega opportunity comes along. And I think Haney could very much be that opportunity. Although, on the other side, what's next for Kambosos? Well, first off, you gotta give the guy his flowers. Unlike many of the modern boxers, he is an example of someone who truly wants to fight the best. He is a throwback fighter. He could have very easily taken a few stay busy fights after Lopez, but instead he wanted to face either Haney or Lomachenko down under. And eventually, he brought them both to Australia for mega fights. No, he didn't win those bouts, but the man has no fear. He didn't want to take victory lap bouts, rather he wanted the true best challenge. And he brought these fighters, filled out stadiums with near to no local media attention. In Australia, the press doesn't love talking about boxing, and we have a bit of a media monopoly within this country. And with that, the press usually only covers fights available on pay TV called Foxtel. They all usually come out of one promotional company, no limit. Think Tim Tszyu or Sam Goodman. And they don't really touch the likes of Kambosos or Opetaya in their coverage because simply they're on different networks. So really against all odds, this bloke became one of the biggest attractions in Aussie boxing. He brought on his back events to this country at the size that we haven't really seen for decades. Yet after this performance, I think he needs to really call it a day on his career. I remember straight after his Lopez performance, he went on the Joe Rogan podcast. By the way, Fascinating podcasts have a glimpse into Kambosos at the peak of his career. But in this podcast, he talked about training with Pacquiao. And this podcast was recorded just around the same time that Manny lost his last fight. He talked about how he wanted to cry when he watched Pacquiao fight that fight. Because Manny's footwork was slow, his shots weren't coming off, and it was clear the best of him was long gone. Watching this fight, although Kambosos isn't that old at 32, it's clear his best days are behind him. And Kambosos now has really achieved all he needs to within the sport. He's won titles, had stadium fights, and inspired a generation of kids down under. What more is there really to prove? He's made his millions and has a beautiful family back home. There won't be any more mega fights really down the line for him. Although fighters like Lee and Paro back home are trying to trash talk George into getting that opportunity, I think it would be unwise for George to end on that sort of note. Retiring now after versing the best of his generation and achieving so much would be the best way for him to go out, rather than a series of average battles back at home which really only have the potential to hurt his legacy. And at this point, he has a promotional company and that's starting to pick up decent talents back home. And that really should be what's next for him. He has the profile and the opportunity to spear a promotional company which could take the young talents of Australia onto the big stage. But either way, whatever's next, I just hope is the best for him. And I'm not just saying that as an Aussie. Although he does talk a bit at times, he's a genuinely good bloke. And I just hope the next move for him is what's genuinely right for him rather than what's right for his bank account. But now I want to hear what you guys think at home. What did you think about the fight, as well as what do you see next for both George and Hitchins? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It really does a ton to help the channel. Yep, thanks for watching fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one.